this whole space looks way different. And I think that mirrors where I'm at right now, right? Because it used to be fatheads right here. It used to be, I had my Washington Monument photos with the titles at the Nationals and the Capitals won. Still my sports thing. Still love my sports. Obviously, I watched the Giants fans have to go home sad and enjoyed it. So I'm still on my sports tip. But I went on a baby moon with my wife out to Arizona before it got to 118 degrees. But it was still brutal out there. We went out to Arizona on a baby moon to a retreat place called Savannah. Shout out to them, especially if they can give me something for free for mentioning them. We were in a session and they were talking about it. They offer a lot of yoga and meditation kind of things. And we were in a session and the teacher was talking about some of the mental and psychological aspects of yoga, because I guess the tenets of yoga aren't just physical. A lot of it is how you're supposed to live outside, off of the mat, which I didn't know anything about. So it was definitely news to me. So in the process of that, one of the things they said was they talked about cleanliness and how about cleanliness is like one of the core tenets of yoga and how a yogi is supposed to live off the mat, which was crazy to me because, I mean, you're talking about, right speech and right thought and right action, and cleanliness goes with all of that. Like, I'm thinking about all these like deep Zen concepts in order to be at one. And it was like, oh yeah, you should probably wash your legs. You know what I mean? Like that's right up there with all the rest of the stuff. I was thinking about that, but I was like, well, I guess in the Christian tradition, they always say cleanliness is next to godliness, right? How many of you guys heard cleanliness is next to godliness? So I was like, okay, so I guess even in the Christian tradition, cleanliness is taken to be one of the highest ideals as well. And my mind kept going, and I said, that's interesting because this is the space that I spend the majority of my time, right up here in this man cave, and it's like your typical man cave, right? It's junk, it's sports paraphernalia, memorabilia everywhere. There's like electronic stuff everywhere. I got cigars on the floor and like all kinds of stuff, right? And at the same time, I try and practice a lot of the things that have made me feel better and have made me feel like I'm getting closer to the full potential of me, right? Like the things I do that make me feel like completely fully realized, meditation being one, right? I try and practice those things and I have no consistency. I'm like, well, maybe the reason why you have no consistency is because you haven't externally dedicated a space for that. Like if you dedicate a space for that, then maybe it might be easier for you to continue to do it. Not only that tells yourself every time you see that space about the priority that is supposed to take in your life. So you're not just all like impromptu, just finding a place and finding some time to do this thing. No, this thing is really important. It's so important that we have a dedicated space for it. And that's something that is impressed upon you every time you see that space, every time you're in that space. And in that moment, I just had the idea and the thought, I'm going to completely transform my man cave and turn it away from being like all DC sports and make it a meditative space. And so I went with the mint green in the background, which y'all tell me how you feel about the mint green. I like the mint green. I'll be honest. I like the mint green. But every time I bring somebody up here, I'm like, they probably don't like the mint green. I don't know. I be having to sell people on the mint green. But I got the mint green. I got, so I got a one of those water fountain, um, or where the water rolls down. You know what I mean? Like it's like a lamp with the water. You turn it on, it pumps, and like the water falls down. I got one of those things. I'll show it to you at some point. In a later live, we'll get mobile, and I'll show it to you. And I got a meditation mat, and my wife got me a meditation chair, to support my vision. And so Sharon Smith Adams said, "Are you opening up for a yoga studio?" That would be funny if they had stand up just to open up the yoga. If you had a comedian before the yoga class just out here just roasting people for how they look in their spandex. uh, uh, I'm not opening a yoga studio, but Sharon, you never know. You never know. If I was to open up a yoga studio, it would be a yin yoga studio. I ain't out here doing all that. I ain't doing the peacock and all that. No. I like nice, slow moving, meditative stuff. Which, by the way, before I went to Arizona, I didn't even know there was such a thing as like slow moving meditative yoga. I'm weird. I love meditation. I love Zen philosophy. I got a bunch of books about it. I read about it. I hate yoga. I've always hated yoga. And then I went to Arizona and realized, obviously I knew that they go together, but I realized there was like a type of yoga where I could get into my meditation and can feel grounded while doing yoga. That's the thing, because I do yoga and I'm focused on trying to do the poses. So I'm like grounded in peace is way out the window. Like I feel like I just split my leg. I'm not feeling at peace. I'm not feeling at one. But that's something that's been great once I realized that, once I found that out. Marsha said mint green is a good color. Thank you, Marsha. I was Googling good paint colors for a meditation room, and one of the ones they suggested was mint green. So I told my wife I wanted to paint the room mint green, and she gagged a little bit. And ever since then, I've had low self-esteem about having this room mint green. Obviously, I still did it, but I feel like I need to sell others on the idea. But I appreciate that, Marsha. I need that kind of support and love for my mint green. So I decided to turn this room over to a meditation room. And during the course of the what has it been? 7 months? 7 months, since open mic ended. I've tried to use that time to fully to refine that part of me that was yearning to be more realized. And in saying that, you say, well, okay, let me explain that a little bit. So last year, I was doing radio, doing open mic, both of which I love doing. It put me at 100% capacity, and which basically means I can do both things, but I can't do anything else. I really wanted to be able to have these kinds of conversations and use this platform this way. I really wanted to do that, and I was unable to do that because I just didn't have the bandwidth for it. I was exhausted. Not to mention the fact that we had a then 1-year-old who was requiring a lot of time, energy, and attention, and I was unable to give that. And then we had a baby that was on the way, and knowing what that's going to be like after having experienced what my daughter was like, um, the realization was something had to give. And so my thought was, I knew that February of this year was a time when I had an opportunity to free up some of my time, because that's when those respective contracts were up. So my thought at that time last year was something had to give. I really enjoyed doing both things. I didn't think I could continue to do both things. I got to find a way to figure it out. Well, it so happens that um, the radio show didn't make it till February. Um, and that actually was, quite, it was unexpected, but the attitude that I took towards it was, if they were found themselves in a position where they needed to replace one of the shows, I probably was the best choice, considering that I was feeling how I was feeling, So I try and look for the places where, God can do for me what I can't do for myself. Because I'm a people pleaser. My wife would say, "You ain't no people pleaser. You ain't pleased me since we got married." I think of myself as a bit of a people pleaser. And so I put myself last in a lot of ways. And so I don't know that I willingly would have walked away, but I didn't, the decision wasn't left up to me. And if the decision was left up to me, I think there's a somewhat of a possibility that I would have kept the party going, even though I knew it wasn't the right thing for me. Well, my thought then at that point was, okay, so the decision was made. We'll ride with open mic, and we'll keep that pushing. Well, a lot of pieces went into doing open mic, and it was one of those things where, obviously, because it's not we're not a comedy studio. It's not even a scripted, it's a news station, and they had specific resources that were dedicated to doing our show. But that is dependent upon those people staying put. Essentially, they're irreplaceable. You can't necessarily just plug in another writer or another producer. We have people specifically doing that show. So when there started to be a little bit of turnover, then the show became really impossible to produce in the way in which we've been doing it. So that did not surprise me that that the decision was made not to continue with open mic. I took it as, well, initially your thought was you needed to free up some time in order to be able to devote to family pursuits, immediate and extended family. At the same time, last year there was, actually, this is a case in point, because last fall and winter there was I had some tragedies, for lack of a better word, that happened personally, and I couldn't really be present for the people that I wanted to be present for, and I couldn't really even be present for myself in order to fully process what happened. Because in my mind, I'm moving at 1,000 miles an hour, and I don't have the luxury of being able to stop and process what's happened to me or what's happened to the people around me. So I suppressed a lot of stuff. that's the extent to which I committed myself, because it's nobody's fault. Nobody made me do open mic or radio. I overcommitted myself, and in doing so, found myself unable to process my own life as it was going on. Right. So there were things that happened to me last year that I had to go back and process this year. So when open mic ended, I was not surprised by that. And I was not, nor was I upset by that, because, and I'll tell you why. So when open mic ended, my thought was, you now have an opportunity, not just that you've opened up a space for you to be able to do those things. Now you can just devote yourself to being able to do those things. So your job now is throw yourself into trying to grow in the ways that doing either of those jobs at the best of my ability would have asked for me to grow. Because I don't think I could grow. You know, I had somebody explain it to me this way. It's like getting car maintenance, right? If you have something wrong with your car, you got to take it to the shop. They got to put it up on the thing, and I call it the thing because I don't know cars like that. But you take it to the shop, and they put it up on the thing, and they look under the hood. But you can't do that while the car's on the road, right? So you have to take the car off the road in order to be able to fully investigate the car. So that's the process that I had the opportunity to undertake, and that's how I wanted to spend that time. Now, to mention the fact that our baby was born a month ago. Actually, yeah, happy month birthday, Kai. I think you heard me. Baby was born a month ago. So at that time, my wife was a couple months pregnant. So we had the understanding that life was going to change in a substantial way in 6 months, right? So not only did I have the freedom, I also had like an end date. Like it was like, this is your window. Like, this is your time. And one of the things I planned to talk to you guys about today, which I won't have the opportunity, so you got to tune in next week. I want to tell you about my travels. I put it in the description. I traveled the world. I literally did travel the world. Went to Africa. So I was like on my Dave Chappelle, and yeah, I sent photos and videos to everybody. I was on my Dave Chappelle. Went to Africa. I went all over the place. Had the opportunity to travel. And shout out to my wife. She said, "Look, you can do whatever you want to do right now, but I tell you this right now, I'm due on August 1st. So that means on July 1st, your butt better be right here, and you ain't going nowhere for the foreseeable future. Hence this show I'm doing. Hence this show I'm doing at home from the attic. So there you have it. Shout out to you, Odd Jones. Said that's a great way to look at it. I appreciate that. Ida Marie, hello to you. I'm glad that you were able to join us, and thank you for the congratulations on the new baby, Ayanifa. Shout out to you, and thank you for joining me. And where did you go? I will tell you next week. And here's a hint, because you might be like, oh, well, I can just find out where he went because I know he has Instagram. I know he posted on Instagram. I ain't even posted because part of that process, right, for me was not being on social media. I also had to get off social media because I felt like social media drew me into a mindset that wasn't conducive to me growing in the ways that I wanted to. It's simple, simply put. So I was off social media. I enjoyed being off social media. And so I didn't want to post where I was traveling, because I was traveling for me. Like I wasn't traveling for the gram, and I wasn't traveling for the likes. I was traveling for me. So it didn't matter to me to post it then. I have the content. I can post whenever I feel like posting, right? So I was able to travel. I was able to go to an unbelievable yoga retreat up in the Berkshires for Black men that I can do a thing just about that. If I'm being honest, I can do a thing totally about that. I'll tell you about that. Here you go. Next week, I'm gonna tell you about my travels. I'm gonna start with my travels. Okay, we're gonna start with where I went. I was able to get a lot of traveling done. I was able to get a lot of stuff done, and in the process of all of that, I was able to realize some of the personal character traits that were acting as blocks for me, preventing from doing what the next thing was. And a lot of that was fear of judgment, fear of failure, even fear of success, because with success comes the need to have to do it again and the fear of failure, right? Because if I look at the last, since the pandemic, since 2020, I've been in awe at all the people that have been able to build platforms and build podcasts, build shows, how much YouTube has taken off, all the people that have been able to build things and do and have these kinds of conversations on their own. I've been in awe of that. And one of the things that I always was self-conscious about in my own career is my ability to connect to audiences and my ability to connect to people. And I felt like enough people have given me enough opportunities that you feel like you have the talent to be able to do something, but are the people actually asking for you to be there? Do they feel like you deserve it? Because at the end of the day, that's what will determine whether you stay there or not. It doesn't matter what the powers that be, no matter how powerful they are, how incredible they might think you are, because at the end of the day, they run a business. So if the people don't also agree that you need to be there, or they enjoy you or want to see you, whatever the case may be, then that will end. And so I've always been self-conscious about that throughout my career. And one of the really dope things about coming to DC is people's reactions to Get Up DC, people's reactions to open mic, is the first time that I felt people respond to me, respond to what I was doing in a way that made me feel wanted and made me feel like I specifically was supposed to be here and that I specifically helped somebody's day, or help somebody through a difficult time. Like I felt wanted in a way in which, quite frankly, I came from sports before I came to DC. Nobody's really reacting that way to you roasting the Wizards. They not. You know what I mean? Nobody's reacting that way to you going in on Bradley Beal's contract. They're not. But I came here and started talking about other things I cared a lot about. And in turn, the audience cared a lot about it as well. So with that as something in my head, as I went into this window of time, I said, you have the thing that you felt like has been preventing you from taking that next step. There's no longer an excuse to stop you from trying to build that next thing other than your own fear, right? Your own fear is the only thing that is stopping. And that was a fact. And that was a fact that I was talking to a mentor last week, and I said, I've been thinking about what this next chapter is and what I want to do, and I've been thinking about the right ideas, because let me tell you, and next week I'll tell you where I went and and all the stuff I was doing. I've been writing about this since before open mic ended, since December, January, what the next thing is going to be. Different ideas, different formats, different co-stars, who I work with, what's the platform, what's the length, where I do it. I've hashed all of these things out over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I was talking to a mentor last week, and I said, I just got to get out of this space. Got to get out into doing. I got to get in the doing space. Paralysis by analysis. That's something I am very guilty of. I don't know if that's a Libra thing or if it's just a me thing. I don't know if it's a black nerd thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's not a DC thing. That much I know. Maybe it is a DC thing. Y'all let me know. I have, oh my gosh, paralysis by analysis. My brain goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Like if I'm playing a game and I just want to stop at one point in the game where it's giving me an option of which way to go, and I just want to sit there and just hash out all the possibilities over and over again while it's on pause. My wife makes fun of me because I will spend upwards of 30 minutes scrolling the Netflix menus before I pick something to watch. I absolutely will do that. And now we got Max. Now it works. Now I will go on Netflix and scroll the menus and then go on Max and scroll those menus. That's how I do. Pamela said it's a Libra thing. Oh gosh. Auntie Melanie, what is going on? I appreciate it. Auntie Melanie's been there since the very beginning. Shout out to you. Love you so much, and thank you so much for being able to join us. Yolanda said, "It sounds like you were doubting your abilities. You are valued." No question. I was doing that, and Yolanda, I appreciate you saying that, because we need to hear that sometimes. It's a case in point. Towards the end of open mic, I asked you guys to send me your email so I can stay in touch with you. And I've been emailing. I emailed about this live, and I emailed about various things. And the deluge of emails that I got from people just showing love and showing appreciation was so dope. But what was fascinating about it is because I respond to the email, so I would go back and forth with people on email, but not truly internalize the things that they are saying, right? So somebody's emailing me and saying, I really appreciate, what you brought and this, that, and the other thing. And I will respond to them, but not sit for a moment with the things that they said as if I didn't believe it, no matter how many they are, that's a me thing. And that's something I'm trying to work on, something I'm trying to work on off air, and also hold myself accountable by mentioning it on air, because this is something that I've been going through. Queen said, I love your commentaries, haven't been on much and was wondering what happened to you. I am here, Queen B, and I will continue to be here. I appreciate you. So just to land the plane on what I was talking to a mentor last week. So I need to get out of this idea phase. And he said, let's set an appointment to talk next week. And I want you to do the thing before we talk again. And basically, this thing I've been like thinking about for like almost a year, all of a sudden I had a week. It was like, just do something. And that was great advice, because I needed to connect with you guys. I needed to have this conversation, but I also just needed to get started, because Lord knows there is always going to be growing pains. And the longer I wait, I just push them growing pains further and further into the future. So yeah, let's go ahead and handle that. A lot of you guys saying this Libra thing, just killing my Libras out here. Just that's fine, because I suffer from that too. That is totally fine. Oh, Noelle, what is going on? My girl, Noelle, take the time to be the best you. Noelle, I appreciate you. Noelle is like Auntie Melanie, has been there since the very, very beginning. From when I used to do lives, like all the time. From when I used to do lives, like just on the street. I think I used to do lives like smoking cigars back in the day. That was my thing. After the show, I would go home after doing a morning show and smoke cigars and do live. Oh, that was the time. 10 a.m. My man got a cigar. Well, you know what? That's my nighttime. That's my nighttime. It's 10 p.m. somewhere. So that's what I got. Prince said, my man Reese, one of the reals, keep up the good work. No worries, you're gonna bounce back to a pair of old black slacks. Thank you, Prince. I appreciate that. Well, look, what I'm trying to do now, I wouldn't have been able to do. I wouldn't have had the bandwidth to do last year. Number one. Number two, I wouldn't have had the courage to do last year. So the circumstances that created this window of time were necessary for me to be able to try and execute what I'm trying to execute. So I'm where I'm supposed to be, which means I got to have gratitude for all the things that brought me to this place. And that's where I'm at with it. That being said, we are going to be here regularly. I told you I'm going to be here with my guests. My girl Birdie's joining me next week. My man Brandon probably will join me next week as well. I got a podcast on the way that I look very, very forward to you guys. A lot of you guys have come on recently too, by the way. I can't figure out how to do a poll. At some point I figure out how to do a poll. By next week. Oh no. Oh, I messed that up. By next week, I'm gonna figure out how to do a poll. Because I was trying to do a poll on what I should name this. We had Deep Waters, Reese Waters Runs Deep, and Man Cave Meditations. But another thing I want, and I was asking you guys about whether I could actually do lives in the afternoon or whether they're better in the evening. So if I could do lives in the afternoon, I could walk around. The sun is shining. I'm not hearing my daughter fighting my wife in the bath downstairs. I'm not hearing that I got rejected for Miss Rachel on the TV. None of that. Okay? If we can do them in the afternoon. But at the end of the day, it's about what's best for the audience, because I could do either. So y'all let me know afternoon, evening. I assume the day doesn't matter. I'm thinking I might do Tuesday, Thursday. But we'll see. By the way, if you guys haven't already joined my email list, just shoot me an email, reese.waters@gmail.com, and I can add you to my email list as well. Lynn said, "So here you are, and be yourself." Hey, I'm trying to be as me as I possibly can. I'm going to me till the wheels fall off, and they might fall off. We're being honest. They have fallen off before. Many said, "You're the real deal, Reese. You are missed. God has a special lane for you. Continue to follow his path, and you'll do great things." Hashtag keep rising. Thank you, Minnie. I appreciate you for that. I do believe that God has a special lane for me. I actually had a thought when I was running the other day. So I run. I'm an avid runner. I love running. But one thing I do is I stop maybe like a mile before I get home. So do like a loop and make sure I stop. I walk back. I have so many thoughts when I'm walking after exercise. And I don't know if you guys have like a cool down after you exercise, or maybe it's the drive home. I don't know. That post exercising period is just fruitful as hell. I mean, if you can like pay attention to what your brain is telling you in that post exercise, it's like I needed to get all the BS out, on the track or on the bench. But for me on the track, because Lord knows I ain't benched in years. Like I needed to get all the nonsense out in order to get to the good stuff. Anyway, I say all that to say, Minnie. I was running, and I was walking back from running, and I had the thought that God didn't put me in this city with this family with support for me to be afraid. Why would God have put me here, having had the experiences I've had, for me to be afraid to move forward? If there was any story, any scenario that was presented to me of my own circumstances, I would feel 100% confident in that person moving forward. But since that person is me, I find ways not to. So, Minnie, I appreciate you for doubling down on exactly what it was that I was thinking. Address again, please, Queen Bee. Yes, reese.waters@gmail.com. So that's REESE.WATERS@gmail.com. And in fact, one of the things I could do, reese.waters@gmail.com. Oops, that wasn't right. Dang. Okay, there we go. Oh man, that's whack. That's real whack. Because I was trying to put a banner, and it like, create a banner. Oh, it was at the bottom. It's been a minute. All right, it's been a minute. Give me some grace. Next week, when I try and put a banner up, I'm gonna know where it is. Also, next week, I'm gonna figure out how to do a poll. Now, that poll might be written on a piece of paper that I gotta hold up, but I'm gonna do a poll. I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna do a poll. All right. Reese.waters@gmail.com. Scroll across the bottom. Add banner. All right. Where is it at? There it is. Show. Bam! Hey! Hey, you know, I do all right. I do all right. Yeah, I do all right. Hit me at reese.waters@gmail.com. I can add you to my email list. Also, hit me if you just have thoughts on anything that I said, um, or um, or things that you would like for me to address in the next live. You could also put that in the comments. So you can feel free to put that in the comments as well. What up? What up, Kimberly? What's going on? Shout out to you. Thank you for joining me. Prince said, grow your mustache back. You know, it's kind of a sore subject with me right now because I had grown a little something. Okay. I had a little something. And I thought that what I had was substantial enough that my barber would leave it alone. Either leave it alone or at least say something before he took the years off my face. Okay. I thought what I had was respectable enough where you needed to acknowledge cutting it. I did not realize that in my barber's eyes, what I had was fuzz and hair weeds that could just be cleared out without any consideration whatsoever. So by the time I said, I heard the clip, I was like, you took half of it already. He's like, nah, I took the whole thing already. I was like, so there you have it. So there you have it. Prince, I was trying to grow it. I was trying to grow it, but you know, I'm telling you, my hair, now people, I've had this debate with dudes my whole life because they'll be like, oh, well, you know, that's dope because you don't have to shave. It'd be nice to have the choice. That's all I'm saying. It would be nice to have the option. I don't got the option. For me to grow facial hair, I have to not shave my face. And by shave, I mean like the electric razor, because Lord knows I don't need the stick. I have to not mess. I basically have to leave my whole face alone for a month minimum before you see anything. So what am I gonna do with all that time I got extra, right? I should find something to do with all that time I got extra. So Prince, I'm working on it, but you know, they got me. You know, the man got me. Charlene said, agreed, your perspective on everything, everyday things and DC things is very refreshing and enjoyable. Simple enough. Thank you, Charlene. I appreciate that. I will take simple in the best possible connotation. Anzi said, well, you have a wife, family, and community that's got your back. Such an overthinker. Just step out on your greatness. God's got you. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie Melanie. That old adage of leap and the wings will appear. I love that. And nothing is more opposite to the way I live my life. But I would love to be that way. I would love to be that way. That is goals. You know what I mean? Goals. We got to work towards it. John Kapashri, I miss you and your undeniable truth about the world today. Hugs. Thank you, Jan. I appreciate you. Appreciate you joining me, and make sure you join me next time. Even for however long you can. Yeah, make sure you join me and say hello. If you can only join for 5 minutes, join 5 minutes and say hi. Please do that. Tuesday, Thursday in the afternoon. We want to see you walking around and getting your perspective. Hugs on your beautiful family. I will absolutely give them hugs. It sounds like my wife is still fighting a good fight. She's still in there, so I will no doubt give them hugs. Prince said, y'all catch my man stand up, one funny cat. Yeah, I'm doing stand up. I'm out here. And Prince, once I get to, you know, I just pop up. That's what I've been doing. I just pop up. That's my stand up I've been doing. But I'm working through a lot of new material, And once I got that to a place where like it's down, then I will start letting you know where I'm performing. I'm at the point now where you just catch me in these streets, or you catch me right here. I will be right here, and I will definitely work out material right here. All right. So to summarize, in closing, you guys hit me up. Let me know what names y'all rocking with. Okay, Deep Waters, Reese Waters Runs Deep, Mind Cave Meditations, or any suggestion. I will read your comments even after the fact. Or you can email me as well, reese.waters@gmail.com, and you can join my email list right there. I'm going to be hitting y'all on the regular. I think I'm going to come back on Tuesday, so I can do Tuesday, Thursday. I think that's what I'm going to do. Stay tuned. I'm going to make my decision in the next 36 hours because I'm going to send an email out and I'll let you know what I decide. Muddy Waters. Prince Junie, I like Muddy Waters. Can I use that? I should look into that. I don't know if I can. I should try and use that. All right. I see you, Prince. I like Muddy Waters. I think I just assumed I couldn't use it. I think I'm going to come back at y'all on Tuesday. Let me know what time y'all rocking with. I chose 7 because that was the time of the WSA 9 show. So I figured, it's the same time that everybody was used to seeing me. I will be getting into, I wanted to come here today. This is the first time, me being back in Holland, y'all. I want to come back today and just be like 100 on where I've been and what I'm up to, where my head is at, what's next, all that. I got to like a lot of it, but like I didn't get to. I didn't even tell you where I've been. I didn't even tell you where I've been. So I got to do that. But I think when I hit you guys for the most part, we talk about life, talk about society, talk about what's going on in the world today, talk about what's going on crazy up in Capitol Hill, which is always nonsense. Of course, we're going to talk about what's going on in DC in these streets. And of course, we're going to talk about these crazy Karens out here. Totally missed the Montgomery Brawl. You know how mad I was? You know how mad I was that I wasn't on here for the Montgomery Brawl? I mean, come on now. Come on. That would have been a whole 4 shows. We would have did a whole week. Y'all remember how we blew out the zebras? Y'all remember how we blew out the zebras and we made that the source of content for like months? Exactly what we would have did for the Montgomery Brawl. You know how mad I was about that. Anyway, we're gonna make sure we talk about all subject matter. And by the way, as much as I said, feel free to hit me here if you have comments on the questions I asked. Of course, if you have stories, ideas, you can put those in the comments. You can send those to my email as well. By the way, I said this to people in my email. I am assembling a team, and so I'm looking for somebody who enjoys social media, who loves social media, is adept at social media, or maybe is an actual social media manager. I'm looking for somebody to handle that. Because I enjoyed my break from social media way too much. And I know that it's a necessary part of moving forward for me. So either I just gotta suck it up or find somebody who's more adept and enjoys it more than I do. So let's try B first. So yeah, if you're in the social media space or you want to be, hit me up, give me a shout, because we are assembling a crew. Next time I come at you guys, I will come bearing guests. So I look very forward to that. And you guys, thank you all. Seriously, all you guys who stayed on here. I know a lot of you guys stayed on here for a minute. Ida Marie, I know you've been on here for a minute. Minnie, I appreciate you for joining. Noelle, wherever she's at, I appreciate you for joining and letting your voice be heard. It's been a minute since we have hollered. And let me know if y'all still doing your benefits as well, because I always like to I always like to go do that. Lovely Jones and Prince Junie and Charlene and Pamela and Tiffany and Yolanda, all you guys. Queen B, shout out to you. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Ianifa. Ianifa, make sure you turn in next week because you a travel person, especially you've been to Africa. So I definitely need to get your thoughts. Shout out to Jen. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to Lynn, Sherry, my girl Joe who was on. I still got to get your hat. Jones, of course. Shout out to you. You guys have made this really dope. Shout out to you, Shay. I appreciate you. You guys made this really dope. Much love. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you get my thoughts in the comments for the questions I asked, or hit me on my email. And we're gonna keep this party going.